Hello and a very special and warm welcome to another fascinating episode in the Influence of Time series, and I am so glad and pleased that I could bring you to our next location. So before I go any further, thank you to everybody who's currently watching this live episode that's coming to you right now live on Sunday of July 2017, and thank you so much to everybody who's watching this live broadcast. And I'm so glad that you could join me on this lovely sunny warm Sunday afternoon as we're about to show you around part one of the next episode in the Influence of Time series. So thank you to everybody who's watching. Thank you for giving me some time out of your day, and hopefully you're going to find this episode as interesting as the rest that I've done, and we'll try and make it as interesting for you as possible and show you as much as we possibly can. And we've got quite a bit to get through, okay? So we're going to try and get this done in two parts. So this is part one, and then we'll go into the next part and do part two. They're probably going to be very short broadcasts, okay? So they're probably going to be about 15, 20 minutes, 25 minutes each, give or take. But as always, I've taken plenty of photographs, both inside, not so much outside, but inside the location today. And all the photographs, along with all the detailed information about this location, will be on my Facebook page and also the website over the next couple of days. And also, obviously, both parts of this live broadcast will be on my YouTube channel as well. So I can already see people watching. Thank you so much for watching me. I'm so glad that you could join me for this next episode. And for those of you that are watching this live broadcast later today or tomorrow, or whether you're catching with us on my YouTube channel, thank you so much for joining me once again, for coming back and rejoining me as we now embark on our next adventure or our next journey in the Influence of Time series. Obviously, I'm Influence of Times, and so thank you for joining me. Now, for those that have been keeping up to date with me on Facebook, you will know that I am, the last couple of times, I know I did a live broadcast about a week or two ago, which was a little bit of an update for yourselves. And I know when I did, we did Packington Hall, if I'm not mistaken, last Saturday, which was a fantastic mansion just outside of Lichfield in Staffordshire. I did mention that I would be on holiday and that I would try and bring you a very special live episode. I'm very pleased to say, I can see people saying hello, thank you so much, bless you, thank you for joining me. So I'm very pleased to say that I've managed to do that. So obviously I'm on holiday and I'm having a lovely time, just relaxing and spending time with family and just kind of switching off from work and just having some time out. But I am very pleased to say that I do have somebody with me today for the first time in the whole series. So I'm absolutely delighted to welcome my guest today, and together we're going to be just showing you basically this next location. Alright, so as always, I've done the research first. I'm going to try and memorise it as best I can. As always, don't, if you like, quote me specifically on exact dates and things. If I get them wrong by a year or two, or if I'm a little bit out, it's only because obviously I try and memorise everything and then relay it to you. And sometimes it's hard when, if you can imagine, I've done 35 places previously. Sometimes I can get, it can be a bit kind of, you get a bit muddled. So I will do my best to memorise the most crucial bits of information, but I will put a more detailed account of the details of this place. Okay, so without further ado, I am very, very pleased to welcome everybody, whether you're watching live or not. I am very pleased to welcome you to this place. This will be the first time, not only have I had a special guest with me, but also that we have broadcast from where we am today. So without further ado, I welcome you to episode 37. So this is episode 37, part 1 of series 2. This is Harperbury Hospital, and this will be the first time that Influence of Times has broadcast from a hospital, and I have to say, it is quite impressive, but it's also got a very typical, and I don't want to blab too much because I'm conscious of time and I just want to show you guys what's here. There isn't a lot to see, however, once we look about it, you'll see it's got that typical hospital kind of look to it. I wouldn't say it's got an eerie, spooky look, but it just, for me who's never been in a hospital before, this has definitely got a typical hospital kind of feel. There is a kind of a vibe to this place. I've picked up a little bit of a vibe. There's different parts, and I'm going to kind of just fit it all in together. I just don't want to talk too much. This Hartbury Hospital, now we are just outside St Albans. Okay, so we're a couple of miles outside St Albans, and we're in Bedfordshire. Okay, so that's where we am. We're in Bedfordshire, a couple of miles outside of St Albans. And like I said, this is Harperbury Hospital, and this location is probably somewhere that I definitely wanted to try and visit sometime in the series. In fact, I have looked at this location and put it off for no real reason for nearly a year. So I am so glad that we've managed to get to this place now. Rumour has it, or should I say report suggests, that this hospital will be demolished very soon. Okay, so it's not going to be here for much longer, so I'm very pleased that me and my guest have managed to make it here today and actually find and get into and see some of the places, but we will show you as well, so don't worry too much. This is a huge site, okay, so we're not just in one block. It's a huge area. If I'm not mistaken, there's about 4 blocks, okay, so we can probably show you about 2 of the blocks that we're currently standing. So we're in one block now, and we'll do part 2 in the next block. But that will be the end of part 1 and 2. We're not going to take into any other bits, simply because the other bits are non-accessible, but also we're obviously conscious of time and things. So we will show you this block, and we'll show you the next block, which is about 1 away. So there's actually 4 blocks in a row, and we can show you 2 of them, this one and the other one, and they are slightly different. And we will try and give you as much information as what we think the rooms are. It's hard, as you can imagine, being a hospital, it's very hard to tell you exactly what was what, but you'll be able to kind of get an idea, and we will do our best to kind of give you what we think the rooms or where we am. Okay, so there's 4 blocks, just kind of show you in kind of like a straight line. Behind us, should I say that way, is the largest block, which is non-accessible, which we think may be where the Great Hall is. Okay, it's the most intact part of this hospital. We think it's there, but it's non-accessible. We can't get in there, which is a shame, because the hall is massive, and it's obviously the most intact bit with the flooring and everything else. But obviously that would have been where patients would have used for functions, maybe dinners, dancing, that kind of thing, more recreational kind of purposes. Possibly storage. I'm sure there might have been a stage in there, so they could have had just made it that a little bit more relaxing for the patients, I guess. But that's the hall over that way, okay? The far on the other side, there's like a huge, great big, long shed, but it's not a shed, it's more like, I'm wondering, not apartments, more like segments, so I'm wondering if that was all the storage area, possibly. But again, we're not going to take you in there because we haven't been in there today, and obviously we're just consciously aware of time and everything else. So we'll just show you what we think perhaps will be the most interesting, which is the most hospital-looking bits, if you like. Okay, the furthest end, which we're not going to take you in today, but I have taken some photographs today. There are 4 or 5 blocks right at the far end, so almost the other end of the field. Now there is actually 2 goal posts in the very centre of this whole area. So obviously they had a football pitch. There's 1 swing, which is a bit spooky. There's 1 swing right at the far end, and I'm sure they must have had more, but there is a swing, which I'm going to take a picture of later. So there was obviously things for them, that kind of bits like that, if you like. But the far end, we think, may have been dormitories, perhaps. I'll describe them very briefly. Out of the 4 or 5, we could get into 1. There's 2 floors, lower and upper flights of steps either side. Upstairs is completely demolished. They're just more like small rooms. However, downstairs, it's extremely dark. Obviously, it's dark and everything else, but for me personally, I found that the most oppressive, if you like. Now, I don't know if that's because it was dark, but the roofs are very low down. I personally felt quite oppressed in there, almost like, not bogged or weighed down, but just almost like oppressed. I could feel the kind of oppression, if you like, in there. Now, I don't know if that was because that was used for a particular thing, or whether it's just because of the nature of the building, the smell, the height, the darkness, and it may have just made me feel that way, but I personally just felt more oppressive at that end. So, but we seem to think that those blocks were more dormitory, possibly dormitory. We could be absolutely wrong. They may have been for another purpose, but that's to kind of give you a layout, and they're in almost like a curve shape, so like a horseshoe shaped, and then you've got the middle, and then we're at the far end. Just to kind of give you an idea of the layout. Okay, so let me just give you some of the historical information. I'm going to try and memorise this as best I can, so just bear with me, guys. Okay, so originally this was built, Harperbury Hospital wasn't known as Hartbury Hospital. It was known as something else, but I can't exactly remember what. In 1913, so we're talking 1 year after the Titanic sank. Okay, so we're going back over 100 years ago. This hospital was originally built in 1913, and it was built for the mental, kind of like the mental act, if you like. So mentally, not insane, but mental people, if you like, patients, along with other sick people, were in this hospital. Okay, so it wasn't so much an asylum, it was a hospital, but it was specifically for mental health, mainly. This hospital was actually built on the remains of World War I hangars. Okay, so even before this hospital was here in World War I, which was in First World War was like 1912, 1913 or 14 or 1919 or something, I'm not sure. So maybe the parts that were built in 1913 weren't built actually on the remains of the World War hangars until after the First World War, when the hangars were then demolished and the rest of the hospital was built on top of the remains of the World War I hangars. Okay? Up until about 1924, I think it was about 1924-ish, 342 patients were here, male only. Okay, so only male patients were here up until then. And then we kind of fast track a little bit up until the 1930s or 40s.
Second World War.
The what,
is
sorry?
when the women and the children were.
Correct. So we're talking about the Second World War. So we're talking about 1942-ish is when they introduced women and children. Okay, so what they did is they had the men here till 342 men. They then built the new buildings in 1913, I think it was 1939 or something like the late 30s. And they opened in about the early 1940s. And then in 1942, Second World War time, they introduced women and children here as well. Now by 1964, if I'm not mistaken, or 1960s, okay, we might be looking at the mid to late 60s, there was over 1,000 patients here, exactly 1,194. That's how many patients were here. Okay, so that will just give you a bit of insight. They continued to use the hospital, if I'm not mistaken, up until around about the 1970s? Something like the 1970s. The NHS. Yeah. So I think it was like the 1970s-ish was when the NHS took over. So if you've heard any reports about the NHS taking over, they didn't so much take over, they came into partnership, okay? And that's roughly around about the time that this hospital then became renamed Hartbury Hospital, okay? So the NHS was worked alongside the other association, if you like, if that's the right word to use. And they continued to use the hospital around up until the 1990s, okay, which is when it closed. Now, if I'm not mistaken, by about the late 1970s, this was overcrowded. And if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, there was about 1,892 or 4 patients or something like that. So there was a couple of hundred patients too many. So it became overcrowded. They then moved patients gradually to 2 other hospitals, which I don't know the names of anyway. And gradually, as more and more patients became better and went back into the community and moved to the other 2 hospitals, that's when this hospital began to close. And it closed, or began to close and gradually shut down in the 1990s. And it actually closed in 2001. So it's been closed for 16 years, obviously. So that's just to give you a little bit of insight. I'm not going to repeat it, but that's roughly the information about this hospital. So give you a little bit of insight, okay? But I will put more in-depth information on my Facebook anyway on the website, so you'll be able to see for yourselves anyway. But that's to give you an idea of what was here. So it was for mental health mainly, if I'm not mistaken. So not tuberculosis or anything else. I'm not suggesting they weren't here, but this was a mental health hospital, not an asylum, but mentally, mental health. So very sick people, and maybe that's what we've picked up today, is that kind of oppression feeling. And we've had a bit of sadness today as well. We felt a little bit of sadness and kind of, because of the sickness. And even standing here talking to you about it, I can feel it already. Just a bit of, not emptiness, I feel like I can feel it pressing on me a little bit. I can feel it around me. It's like the sadness and not the sickness, but just the sadness. I can kind of feel it. It's definitely got that kind of vibe. It's quite I can almost feel it touching me in a way. It's quite a, to me, talking to you about it, it feels like that atmosphere is a bit heavy with it. But that might be just because I'm talking about it, I don't know. But anyway, so that's what I'm going to tell you. So now, the best part for you guys is I'm going to pick you up. And we're going to take you around. We're going to show you. And this is part 1. So we hopefully will do part 2, which will be another very short one. But we'd like to show you 2 blocks, because this block is slightly different. Ooh, it's kind of way up here. This block is slightly different from the other one. But we are going to try and give you an idea of what's what. And I've got my lamp, so we'll go downstairs where it's dark and you can see. I think you'll be surprised. A lot of the paint is peeling, and it's got a very eerie, spooky look because it's just peeling, and it's the doors are just covered in peeled paint. I've never seen anything like it, but I'll show you. Okay, so I'm not going to talk anymore. So let me just make sure everything. That's just the light. I don't want to get a light in the way. So, and I'm not going to embarrass who I'm with today by kind of like show. I won't embarrass you, but we're kind of upstairs. So we're in the upstairs. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, guys, I'm just going to scroll the comments to one side. So you can see. So we've come up here simply because we think this is probably the best place to set up.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, but just to give you a look about. So we've got this partition. So we think this could have been a dispensary. So you would have gone through there, and maybe that's where they dispensed medicines and that kind of thing. But we could be wrong.
Yeah.
So we're on the top floor of one of the blocks. I'm just going to give you a pan about so you can see. So you've got these like partitions. You can see, if I move my fat head out of the way again, but you can see. So you've got a bit of graffiti. So there's the doors. You've got like the windows and stuff. So that's what we think we might be looking at as like a pharmacy dispensary thing, but we could be wrong. And obviously we've got 2 bright red doors behind us anyway. Okay, so we're going to walk through. I'm just going to show you what we think is what. So I'm usually walk through here, and we're not sure, but we think this could be like the wards or something, or like communal area for the staff.
Yeah, we think communal, don't we? Because they're much bigger than the other place we went to.
Much bigger, and there's more of a kind of like a friendlier.
Friendlier, yeah, definitely. More open.
Yeah, like a happier, friendlier feel in here.
Definitely.
I mean, they look like wards, but we think this could be the communal area for like staff. Judging by just what we think. You can see the original paintwork. I'll show you. So that's looking at the original paint. So even though it's cracked, you can see how it was painted on. It had that funny texture to it. And some of the blue paint and lilac paint is still here, as you can see anyway. If I just pan, I'll just show you that way. So I'll just quickly take them up here. So we've got lots of little rooms. So you've got like lots of little like bathrooms. I mean, obviously the tile anyway, so there would be a shower bathroom. But we think this is probably like the staffy bit. So again, you've got like the remnants of toilets and stuff. Yeah, and then we've got this room here, which is the only room that we found 2 baths. So you've got like 2 baths in there. But you can see like the tiles and the radiator on the wall. But it's just got this typical hospital feel to it, and the windows, and see what I mean about the paint? How all the paint is just like peeling off. And some of the doors are like really eerie looking, but you've got like a little wash area, so this could have been like a changing room for them. Obviously that's another bath there, but you've got like where sinks and things might have been. Soap dispensers are still there. Just kind of that's what we think is possibly like a staff bathroom kind of bit. Okay, so walk back through. We came into like this bit. So again, I'll just give you a good look around so you can see. So you can see like all the brickwork's gone. So I'll just show you the ceilings. Obviously the ceiling, a lot of the ceiling's missing anyway. But that's to kind of give you a look about. And then we walk through this door. So you've got like the original paper, or the paint. So you can see it's like blue. It's like hospital-y blue.
It's almost like hospital, isn't it?
Yeah, like that hospital kind of blue colour, sky blue. Then we go round this way to take you through the door. So we'll go down the stairs later, but we've got like a little pokey room there. It's like a little pokey room. And like an office. To me that's like a typical like office door. And then you've got like this little tiny, ooh, I don't know if you can see that, little pokey room in there, look. With like a little rack. I know I'm kind of flitting through this pretty quick, but obviously we've still got downstairs to show you yet. So we'll go back the way we came. But if I show you what I mean, you see that? Oh, sorry guys, you're a bit. I do that. So you can see it's quite. See, we walk through. I think it's like kind of. Do that, you can see. Yeah, it's just there's like a really nice feeling up here.
Yeah, definitely. It's like a light feeling.
Yeah.
Whereas we found it completely different, didn't we?
In the other place.
Yeah.
So that's where we've just come from, guys. We've just come from down there, and we're just walking in a straight line. I'll just give you one last look before we look at some more. Excuse my hiccups. So we've got, as you can see, on the floor. I don't know if you can see that, guys. What's left of one of the trays. One of the little plastic trays for carrying food. It's on the floor there. And we've got like bits of a fridge and stuff, which again makes us think that this was like for staff. You've got like the blue paint on the radiator. But if I show you, I don't know which thing.
You know, like this rack thing.
Oh yeah.
I was trying. Maybe it had like towels or sheets or something on it. I couldn't work out what it was.
It might have done actually, like you said.
Shoes? I don't know.
So just to give you an idea. So we've walked all the way from the other end there, so it's like a large sort of, what we think, staff, sort of communal thing. But even the windows are really old and stuff. I mean, obviously you've still got the fire hose on the wall. But yeah, this is what we were talking about, this little rack. You see it, guys? Oh, you can. Wow, that's really clear. It's got like a little rack, so we think that might be in for towels, shoes, or station. I don't know about stationery, but yeah, I think like shoes and stuff.
Or maybe
medicine.
Maybe.
Could well have been actually. And we've just got this little poker room, so we've got lots of little kind of rooms which have. You see what I mean? The radiator, and like hospital windows. But can you see how eerie they look? And the way the paint and everything's just. It's crumbled away, but there's so many places where it's literally just doing that. Like it's just flaking. And like peeling, and the doors are just covered, some of them. We've just got like a little pokey room in there, there's nothing much. So that's kind of upstairs. So I shall show you the stair. Oh, hang on, oh, you can see it. So there's the stairway. So we're going to go downstairs. So I'm going to be really careful. Oh, don't blow me head. Okay. So that's where we're going. And this is where it starts to smell like really mouldy and
very old.
Yeah, very. So what I'm going to do, guys, I've got a lamp with me so we can see. Oh yes, I'll give you the torch.
Just give me the torch, then I can do the floor.
I can just give you my torch. Yeah, there we go. I'll just press that black button. Is it? Again? Then. Yeah. It's got like a dingy room, but can you see, guys, how that paint on that door? See what I mean about the paint? How we just... See that? And the doors are just covered in it. Look. It just peels like that. But look at that window. That's just mad. Oh, I didn't want to blind you then. I've just blinded my guest. Then we've got like another room. Like a thing. It's like... So I don't know.
It's got a bench.
That's what I thought, like a bench.
Yeah.
Can you see that, guys? It's like a bench.
It's almost like a staff thing, you know? When you line your shoes up.
Yeah.
Like old school.
Like old school stuff.
Like pencils.
Yeah. It's just weird.
Original flooring.
Sorry, guys, I'm just playing with the lamp a bit because I want to make sure you can see. But yeah, look at the window. And like that paint. That's probably what the smell is, and you can see like the wall. Can I show you guys? Is that the wallpaper? See it? But that paint is just like, ugh. But yeah, it's just really eerie. God, doesn't it echo in here?
Yeah, don't it?
And it feels, yeah.
It's cold in here.
It is.
Very cold in here in this part.
See the, show the light switch? Can you see that?
Light on.
Yeah, we'll put the light on, make life a lot
Is
easier.
it electric on it?
So again, we seem to think this is like your communal area, guys,
Yeah, definitely.
because we think that we've got a lot of windows that are kind of the height of a person, and we think that was probably how nurses would have been able to keep an eye on guests, or, you know, that kind of thing, I suppose. Actually, I could be wrong, but perhaps so. But you can kind of get an idea. So I'll show you in that room there, look. So this is like the, see the fire panel? Still there? God, it's just got a funny smell. There's like the dispensers on the wall. All the wallpaper and the paint, but you can see how they've got like the windows that... But yeah, it's just like a room really. Like I said, we don't know what this is for. And then we come into this like... So that's where we've come from. And then we've got another room. It's just another very small room. You can see. But that's where we've come from, guys, okay? So we've come from that way. And we've come... You can see it anyway. We've come from the stairs. But you see what I mean about the doors? See them two doors just covered in that, the way that paint's just peeling off. All of it. See that? And that door's just covered as well. Look at that. It's weird, it's just, I've never seen anything like it. But yeah, we've got this massive room. I mean, I don't know. Make sure you can see. It's quite a big room, but I have no idea. I don't know what this... We don't know.
We're not sure. No.
We really don't know.
We think it could be for maybe visitors coming in. Maybe this was where everyone just sat round.
Like, do you think like a lounge or something?
Maybe a lounge or something. They would have had TV rooms.
Because if you've because if you've got like these rooms here, which would have been like, I suppose like for nurses to like, if that's got the fire panel, that to me would have meant
Maybe that was reception.
a reception-y thing, yeah.
And they came in and this was.
Oh yeah, they could have done like a communal lounge.
Yeah, could have been that.
It's got like a window there. I'll take you into this room. So there's two of these rooms, one either side really. But it's the other room that I probably like the most because it's, yeah. But just to kind of show you, you've got like the broken window, which they could have looked while they were either sitting or standing. But they've even got the light. Can you see that light fixture? You see that original light fixture up there, look? The old original light fixture. But yeah, it's just like this room. It's part of a chair. Can you see that on the floor? But yeah, it's just like another communal room, I guess, or something. But I just think those light fittings are cool. Let me see it. You see what I mean about it? There you go, look, you can see it. See that? A light fitting. So this is like a room. It's just so hard to know. I'll come back this way, I'll try not to blind you.
Thank you.
That's it. So walk down this way. So we're now walking through what we think is like a communal lounge area, which would explain, I suppose, because you've got enough daylight, you've got two windows that side.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and there's like, oh look, there's a bracket there, look. They would have had plants or something on there. You can see it there, look. Then we walked. Oh yeah, this is that other really dark room that we found. Which again, we're not sure. It's got pink paint. So, do you think they might have had a female and a male's room, which is why this is pink? I don't know.
They also had children as well.
Children, yeah.
So maybe they kept women and children maybe in one part.
Yeah.
And maybe men in another part.
I know, yeah.
That could be, or they kept children separate from adults.
Yeah.
It can go either way really. It's hard to tell.
It is so hard.
They're all kind of the same kind of shape.
Same shape. And there's no clues as to anything
There's
apart from...
nothing to say what they were.
No.
Nothing at all.
but you can kind of get a gist of like the room. So obviously the light fittings are still up on the ceiling. You see that, guys? We've got like, you see it? The light fitting there. But yeah, another room. Now the radiator on the floor. You see it on the floor there? You can. Big radiator. Ooh, crunch. So, but look at the, it's like the door is like, oh my god, that's so old. That door frame. Oh, it's been like, just wow. It's just amazing. Okay, guys, so we've walked. We could have walked straight through that room that we were in just a minute ago, but we've kind of taken you round the other way. All right, so we've been in there, and that way is just, believe it or not, this is just toilets and things, and I'll quickly show you. If you really insist on seeing, see? That's all that's left. And then we've got cubicles, look. Staff cubicles. And then we've just got this other room here, which is another, to me, a changing room. So you would have had sinks there, I can see it straight away. So you'd have had 1, 2, 3, 4 sinks. There's your paper towel dispensers, which are still there. There's actually a paper towel left. Got your radiator and stuff. And then your little, I wonder if that's a shower at the end. That could have been a toilet or a shower right at the end there. I'm hoping you can see that. You can. That's good. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we lost the signal then, but don't worry, we're still here. So where we were just now, down in that corner, was like what I think was a shower or something at the end. But again, we're in this next communal room. So there might have been 2. You know, a lounge, a TV room, something. But yeah, it's just amazing. Can't believe this is a hospital, a mental hospital, health hospital. And again, we've just got another electrical thing. Oh, hang on. Oh, sorry. We've got a little pink room there. So that's got more of a staff door on it. So I don't know. And if I just quickly flick the camera round, we think this is like a kitchen for staff. And we've got a little. Show you. Got like a little shelving unit and stuff in there, which might have been where they have a kettle or that kind of stuff in here. Can you see the net curtain still up, guys? Can you see that net curtain? Still on the window? Well, you'll see more of them after. But yeah, all the paint hanging from the ceiling off the lot. Yeah. Oh, look at this stuff. Oh, it's just peeling off. It's like, there we go. Oh, got it again. Sorry guys, you lost the signal again. Ah, there we go. So we've got the signal. Ah, that's better. Okay, so don't worry guys, we lost the signal a couple of times. Don't worry, you didn't miss anything apart from the rest of the kitchen, which was like the sink and definitely a staff kitchen area. And we've come into this last room. So this is the last room in this block. So yeah, you can see another kind of room, but it's slightly different colour. It's like white on cream on the top and like green underneath, and like pale green. But look at the really old windows. So you can see the room. It's fascinating. Obviously the light fixtures are still here as well. You see them up there. So yeah, this is the last room downstairs. The fire door. And I don't know if you can see that. Bit of carpet on the floor. Or flooring, or wallpaper I think it is actually, sorry. But yeah. Okay. So that's to kind of give you an idea of the first block. Oh yeah.
You know when they used to put that glass food?
Oh yeah, hatch.
The hatch? like we used to have. In
Oh, yeah, of course. So that's the kitchen that I couldn't show you.
This was definitely a communal place.
Definitely.
Maybe to make refreshments for like the visitors and that.
Yeah. So you've got the sink. See the sink and stuff. Wow. That paint is just...
Paint is just weird, isn't it?
It is the way it's just like sagging and stuff.
So strange. Like skin, like old skin.
Yeah. Wow. So that's like I'm saying, that's like the hatch where they pass the food through. And then possibly, hey, look at that old film down there, look. You see that, guys? See an old bit of film? Bit of camera film? Wonder what's on them. But yeah, into the communal room. So, that's kind of the end of part 1. I'm hoping you found it kind of interesting. I mean, what I'm going to do is probably just switch the light off and maybe go outside. Kind of save the battery a bit. So let's go outside. Wait, we went over there, didn't we? Of course. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to finish there. Okay, guys, so that was, I know that was a bit hit and miss, and I know we lost the signal quite a bit, but we've come outside, so we're actually outside where we've just been. Now, if I'm not mistaken, each of these blocks had a letter, A, B, C, D, and E, or something. We're not quite sure which block this is, but we're outside the block that we've just been in. Now, I do hope you found that interesting. I know it's a bit rushed, but obviously we want to try and get part 2 done, and part 2 is going to follow in about 10 minutes time, and we'll just take them to the next block, which looks slightly different. There's a lot more rooms, net curtains, the doors look different, and we think that's more for people who have mental health, that were actually locked in their room, or there's like an airlock between the corridor and their room, but we'll show you. So that's the end of part 1. Like I said, I know it's very brief, very quick, but that's as much as we can show you in this block. That really is as much as we can show you. But we're going to go into the next block and show you in there secondly for part 2. So join me and my guest right back here live on Facebook in about 10-15 minutes. We'll be right here live on Facebook for the next part of Harperbury Hospital. Okay, so come back, join us then for part 2. Like I said, thank you for joining me, for tuning in. Hopefully you found it interesting. I hope you enjoyed it. I know, like I said, it was a bit hit and miss and things, but we just want to try and get this all done, but without rushing it too much, if that makes any sense. So from me, my guest, Harperbury Hospital Part 1, we'll see you back here in about 10 minutes' time. Come back and join us, okay? See you soon. Thank you. Hang on. If we could switch it off, that would help. We've had this before. Okay, it doesn't want to